Welcome to Baaton Baaton Mein, the podcast where we explore Indian living in Krakow. And first of all, Happy New Year. Normally, we have guests coming from India and living in Krakow, but today we have a little twist. So we have guests from Poland itself, and they are studying here Indology and helping break the stereotypes and becoming a bridge between two cultures. Let's welcome them to our podcast. Welcome Natalia, welcome Patricia.
Hello, namaste.
Hi, namaste. Let's start with your background, Natalia. So please let us know a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Natalie Jagło. I'm currently first year PhD student in doctoral school. I will be doing research about Indian diaspora here in Poland. But actually my story with India, Indology, my passion, it started much more earlier. It started when I was a little girl because I was raised in London and my mom had a lot of Indian friends and they were in love with Bollywood movies. So actually the Bollywood was, let's say, big part of my childhood, right? Some kids are raised on Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, and some kids like me, they are raised on Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. So my passion towards India, I would say it was growing for years. It started with Bollywood, and it was my main, let's say, motivation to start Indology studies. But when I was studying, I was exploring more, let's say, interesting aspects about Indian culture. And I digged deeper into that. And I decided to join a lot of initiatives, which one of them is Ćajlandia, obviously, to, let's say, educate people, to break some stereotypes, and also to educate myself. So this is how it went. This is where I am currently, and I'm doing that with amazing girls, and one of them is today with me. So yeah, this is my story.
So what about you, Patricia?
So I started to learn about India because of my childhood. I've watched many films with my mom. Films, for example, with Shah Rukh Khan. And also I had a dream about being linguistic. So I wanted really hard to start to learn Hindi or other languages. So basically, maybe a Sanskrit. It's very difficult, but we learned it at our studies. And also I was the president of the Koło Naukowe Indologów, and we did the Indian Days with various events about Indian culture. So
This was your starting part.
Yes, we had an opportunity to do something more first. And now when I'm not a student now, I wanted to do something more because I miss my studies very much. And we are doing Ćajlandia things, like showing India from other perspective to all people, to our small audience.
What is the most intriguing factor about India according to you?
Mm-hmm. For me, I would say there's a lot of factors because Indian culture seems so much different than our Polish or European culture, right? And for me, like the culture, like dance, music, cuisine, like all the history, it is really interesting to me. And also, let's say, religious aspect, because a lot of really important and the oldest religions in the world are from India, right? Like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. So for me, it's also interesting that it is not only a religion, but also some kind of philosophical system, which is giving some rules for the people how to live, how society should look like. So I find it really interesting. And also because I got more interested in, let's say, international relation and that kind of stuff, I find it very interesting that, let's say, the strategy of India towards other countries, like how they are trying to stay neutral, to keep in good relations with all the countries. I would say from our European perspective, it's really intriguing because in our mindset, it's like someone is our friend or not. And India, they are always trying to stay neutral. And for me, it's really fascinating, right? Because it's something really, really unusual. And I think it's also like the part of Indian nature, like trying to stay on the good terms with everyone. So I would say like the not only political aspect, but cultural aspect, like dance, but also, let's say, all the things correlated with culture, especially like, as I said before, dance and everything. There's a lot of things to get deeper into that and to explore them. And I think this is the most fascinating about India.
So normally you said you were living in London.
Like my first previous, let's say, years of my life, like
It
early
was
childhood.
in London.
Yeah.
So I heard there is a big community of Indians. So you went to those festivals of them?
I was actually too small to remember that, but I remember that we were living like around 1 kilometer from Hindu temple. So my parents are even having some photos in front of this temple. So I think it was in my blood since my early childhood.
Okay.
And yeah, I also think it had really big impact on me, because if my parents wouldn't living there and they wouldn't be connected with Indian diaspora there, I think my interests wouldn't develop.
Yeah.
Right? Because, as I said, it started in my childhood. And I think if I would be living there and, let's say, 10 years ago, the Indian diaspora in Poland wouldn't or weren't so big. So I think my life would be looking completely different. So, yeah.
So normally people don't use or choose Indology, but why Indology you choose?
I think the most popular reason why people are going to Indology is because of the Bollywood.
Right. Or yoga.
I think so, or maybe yoga, or someone are going just without a plan. So maybe there are the reasons. For me, the reason was that India seemed to me like topic that I can explore in many ways. In many paths, and of course because of my movies watched with my mom.
Yeah, that's the important and main part. So go to Indology. So in Indology, normally you also learn Hindi and other languages?
Yes.
Urdu, Sanskrit and Tamil.
Urdu, okay, so you speak some of them, or it's still hard for you?
I think we can speak Sanskrit.
We
We can read Sanskrit and do a translation.
We know a little bit Hindi, but for me it's more like, for example, when I'm watching Bollywood movies, like sometimes I understand like a lot what is going on, but to express myself it's a little bit harder.
Yeah,
But I think it's also some
it's
step.
me in Polish.
I think I think we can't speak like fluent or even fast.
Yeah.
I think
Very
it takes
slow
time.
talk will be all right for us.
But
Nothing complicated.
yeah, but I think it's also really, let's say, important for us because we are able to better understand the culture, right? Because there are some words in Hindi or in Sanskrit which cannot be translated into Polish or even English. And if you know those words in Hindi and you can understand what they are about, I think you have better understanding of the culture. So this is
It's
the most
normally when
important.
you have specific words, it's very hard to translate them into even English to explain them, like what exactly happening there. So
Yeah.
I totally understand that. So what is the misconception or misunderstanding you had about India and you guys was studying Indology and that changed? Can you give us some example?
I think the various of languages there are in India. So I thought there are maybe a lot of languages, but not that much. And the diversity, it's huge. Like I've learned Tamil and I've learned Hindi. So the difference it's very huge for me. Yes.
Yeah, totally. What about you?
Yeah, I also would agree with Patrycja because when I was starting my studies and our professors would say like, oh, like there's a thing like in India, people from different part of country, they cannot communicate. I was like, how is it possible? Because in Poland, for example, we have some, let's say, diversities in dialects and we can hear like someone is from different part of Poland, but we can communicate, right? And I was like, no, I think it's exaggeration, like it is not happening. And then we started learning Tamil and I was like, okay, it's a little bit similar to Sanskrit, but grammar, alphabet, everything is totally different. And I also would add to it that I also thought like India is more homogeneous country, because I was having this European Poland perspective on this country, right? I thought, okay, for example, the Indians, they are having like the common language or common religion or common traditions, and turns out it's not true. Like it turns out there's a lot of languages, as Patrycja said, there's a lot of traditions, there's a lot of religions. And some people might say, okay, but the Hinduism is like the biggest religion. Yeah. Let's say Muslims are minority, but this minority is like 200 million people. So it's like 5 times of Polish population. So you cannot say it's like, oh, it's small minority and we shouldn't care about it. So for me, it was like the biggest shock and the thing which I learned during my studies, like the India is really, really different.
And also Hinduism can be diverse.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah, especially if, let's say, on the North and South India, like there's a lot of gods and a lot of cults towards them. So it was also like, I wasn't aware of that when I started my studies.
After listening those things from your mouth, like, yes, those difference is there. Now I'm thinking like, yes, we have that many differences.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear.
So I thought it's simple.
Yeah, it's
but
not that simple.
Yeah.
It's not simple at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people, let's say, they are mostly concentrated like, okay, there's Taj Mahal, there's butter chicken masala, and that's their whole vision of India. And they are forgetting like there's a lot of states which, let's say, they are not very popular even in pop culture when we are talking about India, right? Yeah. And
I think
they are
people
very diverse.
Don't even know the states.
Yeah,
So
which
there
are
is
in
a
India.
state system, and there is every state have a different language.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a lot to take in, I agree. So do you find any similarity and commonality between Polish and Indian culture?
I would say like after my first stay in India, I was like, oh my God, this is totally different than our culture. We have nothing in common because I would say like every day in India for me was an adventure and I was learning something new. And I felt like, let's say during my, for example, 1 week in India, more interesting things happened than for half of my life here in Poland, right? And after coming back, I felt like we don't have a lot of common. But when I was doing research for my master thesis for sociology, it was research about cultural shock among Indians living in Poland. And I wasn't aware that actually my responders, they were highlighting some interesting aspects. Like they said, like, they weren't expecting Polish people to be so religious. And this is, let's say, the common thing. Like, we are following their religion traditions. We are really caring about them. And also, they were mentioning, and I would agree with that, that we care about the family values. Like, we are really family-oriented. Our families are important for us. And maybe in big cities, it's not so visible, but actually, let's say in the rest of the Poland, people still are living with their grandparents, with some members of their family. They are caring about actually their families. They want to have children. So I would say it's really similar, like in our cultures, that we really care about our families, we care about their opinions, and they are important to us.
Also, I think that we are both attached to our traditions and, for example, religious ones. And we are, a lot of people in Poland and a lot of people in India are proud of being Polish or Indian. So I think that might be common thing.
The biggest commonality. I also feel it because when I came here and I see people actually taking care of their elders and even though taking them to maybe doctor appointments and so on, and what I was experiencing or maybe hearing when I was in India, that was totally different. So it was very nice to see that.
Yeah.
So I like to know about Ćajlandia. So how they start and how you got the inspiration to start this initiative.
So it was at the restaurant.
Yeah, we are preparing for our exams on Indology studies. I remember
and
that.
we had a break for a breakfast. And
Important
we
break.
thought that it will be nice to do some project like this, to open a Instagram page and do researches on various topics and just go with this to the public.
Yeah, because previously we were creating some content as koło naukowe
As koło
Indologów.
naukowe.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it was more in academic way, let's say. And we felt like, okay, we want to also like spread the knowledge, but maybe in less academic way. And also maybe for the people who are not having some basic knowledge about Indian culture, and maybe they are too shy to ask like on academic background, right? Because there's is some specific level of knowledge and people might be feeling like, okay, I shouldn't be asking about some basic things because it is academic environment, right? And we decided to open this page and also to break some stereotypes because we also think like a lot of ignorance, racism, it comes from not having proper knowledge about some culture.
That's true.
And we wanted even to explain some really basic thing to people because the Indian diaspora in Poland is getting much more bigger every year. And even my friends who are not connected with Indian community, they are working with Indians, they are studying with them. And they are really like wondering about some aspects of Indian culture. For example, they're asking us like, why do Indians do this head movement, right? Because they don't know how to interpret that. And we decided, okay, we can even explain that because people, they just don't know why Indians are doing that. And actually, I think it makes the communication easier when you understand why people are doing some things. So it was the main goal of this page, like to spread some knowledge, but in less academic way for the people who want to gain some knowledge, but they are not correlated with academic environment.
So this name Ćajlandia, that's so intrigued and I love it. Can you explain us the maybe meaning of it, Ćajlandia?
The meaning of Ćajlandia is like from spill the tea. Like
This phrase, yeah.
It's like in Polish, rozlewać herbatkę. So it's not spilling the tea, it's spilling the chai because we are talking about
India.
South Asia and Asia. But basically we started with India.
So how many people is joined you in this initiative of yours, like the Polish people, if we say?
I think we are a group of 5, but our friends are like Ćajlandia and friends.
Okay. I also heard that you guys are also part of Bharatanatyam and Bollywood dance. Can you please let me know a little bit about it?
She is.
Yeah, actually, I was, let's say, participating in Bharatanatyam group because when I was on my first event organized by IPCC in the Polish Cultural Committee, it was like 2018, 2019, I think, and I saw the performance of Natalie group. It is a Polish group dancing Bharatanatyam. I think it was also one of the first groups dancing Bharatanatyam in Poland. And I was like so amazed by that. I was like, oh my God, it looks amazing. I want to participate. But the main issue was like, it wasn't a lot of volunteers who want to participate. So the new groups, like for the beginners, they didn't open for a long time. And it finally opened and I had this chance to practice, to learn a little bit. And I was practicing for almost 2 years. But after this time, like I got much more obligations like during my studies, for my work and that kind of stuff. And I wasn't able to practice a lot because also like learning Bharatanatyam showed me like it is not only you are going for a class, you are dancing 1 hour and that's all bus.
Yeah,
it is not like that. You have to practice a lot at home if you want to get even some basic level. So I knew that, okay, I don't have a lot of time to practice. It doesn't make for me any sense like to practice, to be not in a good shape or having a good level. And I needed like to put it aside for some time. But then the girls from Manjari dance group, it is also a Polish group dancing Bollywood, Natalia Rudka, she offered me like if I want to join them. And at first I was like, I don't think like Bollywood is my thing. Like I love Bollywood movies, but Bollywood dance, I don't think it really sticks to me. But when we performed on Onam, it was event organized by Kerala Association of Poland. Like the feedback from the audience was amazing. They were cheering and everything. And I felt like it has much more sense to me right now. And I'm really happy that I can be part of this because it is also a nice way to show people some different culture. Like a lot of my Polish friends, they are coming for these events, which, for example, we organize with IPCC. They're coming from Holi, for Diwali, they want to see it, and they are also getting more familiar with Indian culture. So I think it's also like, for me, positive aspect that I'm doing something correlated with Indian culture, but also I'm like taking more people, involving them into this community, into this culture.
And I totally agree, because Bharatanatyam is a classical dance,
Yeah.
and like having even a basic knowledge is quite hard.
Yes.
And practicing, you have to do it. I think some of the people who are professional Bharatanatyam, they are doing like 10 years
Yes.
training, and so even
Yeah.
more than that.
Yes.
And still they say like, oh, I'm not professional. So I totally agree with that. So thank you for sharing that. And I like to ask, how was your parents' like reaction when you said like you want to study Indology and maybe open a Ćajlandia? Please do let us a little bit about it.
So I think they are always cheering me up for my decisions. No, it was my decision, so they
So there was
should
no question.
they should just agree with that.
What about you, Natalie?
I would say my parents were kind of supportive, and they are still supportive. My mom isn't even set up Instagram, especially to follow Ćajlandia and to see what we are doing. So I would say they're really supportive, and also they went to India because they got so interested in that, so they decided also to visit this country. So I would say they really support me in all of this way, and I'm really grateful for that.
So in which place you were visited in India?
So first time I was in Hyderabad, and then I was in Guwahati in Assam, and in Nagaland. So it's kind of different from normal first journey to India. And then I was in Agra and Delhi. And the second time it was like Delhi, Udaipur, Jaipur, Agra, Lucknow, Varanasi, and then back to Delhi.
So if I ask you the favorite place that you visited in India, what it was?
The most beautiful city for me is Udaipur from all these cities.
Okay. What about you, Natalie?
Actually, my first journey to India, it was in 2022. I went for my internship in Polish embassy in Delhi. So it was the place where I stayed the most of my time, right? Because I was doing internship there. But I was trying to travel during weekends, so it was mainly some locations close to Delhi, right? So I was like in Agra, in Rishikesh, in Jaipur. I don't remember what else. But my second time in India, it was some winter school organized by our Indology department. And we went to Kerala. It was a lot of cities along the way, so I don't remember all of them. And also we went to Goa and to Mumbai. And now in February, we are also going now together for the first time, because we were in India but separate, and now we are going together. And but we're still thinking about our plan, what to do.
So I was in India before the COVID pandemic, and it was like other words.
Yeah, but it was you were there when pandemic was there, or
No,
you came before?
in 2019 and in 2020.
Okay.
I think you were like 1 month before pandemic started.
Yes.
Yeah. So last minute, really.
Yes.
It's better you came home after that.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite city in India?
I'm
Or
feeling
maybe 2 or 3?
like I would say my heart is in Delhi, because I spent a lot of time there and I met amazing people. Like people in embassy, they were really supporting, and they knew like this is really hard experience for me, because it was my first time going so far away from home alone to such different culture. It was my first time in India, and they were really supportive. So I would say that my heart is in Delhi, and I'm like feeling it's, let's say, some kind of my second home. But according, let's say, to some sightseeing and that kind of stuff, I really love Kerala. I think it's not without the reason that they are calling it like the land of God, right? It's really beautiful.
So perfect. What is FYD?
It's actually a Polish non-governmental organization, Forum of Young Diplomats. In Polish, it's like Forum Młodych Dyplomatów. It's an organization we also joined like this year, because it is mainly focused on international relations. And I think it's also an important aspect to understand like India in modern contemporary world, because how the India is behaving on the global stage, it is also really important. And this is the organization for the people from whole country, but we are mainly focused on this Asian Pacific department. Because when we joined this organization, turns out there's not a lot of people specializing in India. And we were, let's say, the pioneers in that topic. So we were like writing articles, we are organizing some meetings. We even organized a meeting with the ex-ambassador of India, of Poland to India, Professor Piotr Kłodkowski. And also Patrycja now, she started...
I've opened the new Hindi language group. So we will start to learn Hindi. It's not only for the beginners, and we will discuss some various topics.
Okay. So if someone wants to join a Hindi group, please do join Patrycja.
Yeah.
And maybe keep working, and you will learn more about Hindi and India.
Yes.
So what will be the next project for Ćajlandia for this year?
So we are about to do some small reviews with people about India and what they like about India and Poland and similarities with these cultures. So this is one project. Maybe
I think we will also try to maybe organize some workshops on some lectures, let's say on some basic level. But we will see how it will go. We are open to many propositions. I think we will be also focusing on some activities like with IPCC, because IPCC, it will be the 25th anniversary this year, and we want to organize something special because of that. So I think a lot of our resources also will be focused on that. So stay tuned.
So, for example, now you're gonna work with maybe dance or events, or which kind of workshop you gonna take in Ćajlandia?
maybe dance workshop, but also I think language workshops, maybe meetings with interesting guests. We will see.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of aspects, like maybe some, let's say, meetings with some people who traveled to India, or even we can say something about that because we traveled.
Maybe we will meet somewhere, and
yeah, because we are sometimes just getting inspirations, you know, one day
from
we're
the
just
air.
we're just waking up one day and we're like, okay, let's do this or do that, and we are doing that. So maybe one day we will wake up with new idea. We will see.
And we are about to do some fun and interesting as well content in India.
Yeah, because we are going in February.
So you can see it in our
So
page.
you are visiting India in this February?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us today. It was pleasure meeting you guys. And since you guys are speaking or learning Hindi, can you maybe speak a little bit?
So, dhanyavad and fir milenge.
Oh.
I wanted to say the same, like dhanyavad and pirmilang.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And please stay tuned with Natalia and Patrycja in Ćajlandia, and you can go and check their Instagram page. We will put all the information in description. And please stay tuned and with Akshay and Kaur. Have a nice day. Bye.